Okay, let's talk guns.
So what is the gun that you have by your
Yeah, my
bedside?
nightstand gun is a 1911 A1, and yeah, Mark is correct. It's 100 years old this year. Long live the king! And it's as popular as it is for a reason. It's when you pull that trigger, it goes bang. Same as the M2 50 caliber machine gun that was developed during the World War I time frame and perfected afterwards is still popular with American forces worldwide. The thing works.
Major Wheelock, I agree with you on that 45, and I also we have a Springfield Armory XDM in our family too. So and it's a superior fine.
Now the reason why, Vinny, you have that 45 though is you believe in knockdown power. When you hit the guy the first time, you want to make sure he's going down. Is that right?
Yeah, I actually believe in it. I took Physics 101 in college, and I took some physics class in high school, and it's, it makes a lot of sense to me. It really does, because if it weren't true, all the armies in the world would be using 22 long rifles.
Yep, I agree. I have never had to shoot a human being, and I'm grateful for that. But I've killed plenty of deer, and I know that shot placement is the key to success in hunting or in a defensive shoot. But there is no replacement for displacement. I am comfortable carrying the 9mm in the XDM, mainly because of the newer types of ammunition that are available, how they penetrate without over-penetrating, and how they expand and fragment so that when you get near a vital organ, you're going to be able to do some damage.
Class, we need to talk about a couple other things. I'd like to ask Major Wheelock about his fire plan, and I'd like to get into the law right after that. So, Major George Wheelock, do you have a fire plan that you're willing to share some of with our class?
We do in my home. I can give you the overview of that. Basically, if one assumes that the most critical time is the period that you'd likely be asleep, our plan would be for my wife to secure our bedroom, contact the authorities via 911, while I am exiting the room and attempting to clear the home and gain contact with our children that live on the other side of our home. Now, our kids are teenagers now. They're all trained in weapon safety, in the use of their firearms, not just in hitting paper targets, but being able to employ it during limited visibility, like night, being able to identify targets and differentiate between friend and foe. So I'm comfortable doing that. I've been trained in specific close quarter battle techniques. It's not my first thing that I would want to do, to exit my room and move through the home. But because I have children in the home, that's something that I would do. And then rally with them, get them secured, and await the authorities.
So you're not expecting or anticipating any screaming that will be of confusion from your household?
Well, it might happen. Even with trained personnel, it could. But no is the bottom line answer, because it's a scenario that we've actually rehearsed, keeping quiet, only talking to one another, yelling to one another in the case that a firefight actually starts. And that's what our plan is in our home.
We had some training in our house, in our farm, and our children were very interested in the firearms. And when one of my sons was 6 years old, he wanted to shoot the M1 carbine because he saw Dad out there with it, on the range. So we put one round in it after going through the appropriate safety training, and he squeezed the trigger. And he cried. But he had a great respect for it, and ever since that, he has been very interested in the safe use of firearms. So all of our family is trained in safety and the use of all the firearms that are available to them. And do you agree with that?
Absolutely. My kids are armed as well. They're older, but they've been familiar with firearms since they've been very young. And we have the same philosophy. So it's not just myself and my wife that are armed in our home, but all three of our children.
Yeah, I came back from the studio last night, and John Statmiller came. He was our guest. And that was kind of fun because, Mark, we did 3 hours of radio. That was a first for us yesterday.
3 hours. Yeah, 3 hours of radio is a lot of radio.
Yeah, so we did 1 hour here on KWTO, and then we walked down to another studio here at the station, and we did 2 hours on Republic Broadcasting.
It was fun. I enjoyed it.
So John Statmiller came to the farm after the broadcast, and there was Mrs. Finelli in the kitchen with her .38 Special strapped on as usual, and I had my .45, and it's just normal. in our house.
Yep. Yep. You know, it is in a lot of places anymore, especially with those that have become aware as to what's going on and are making the choice to be prepared.
Class, I went to one of the farm stores, and a lady that had been there for many years asked me, "Why do you carry a gun?" And I said, "It's my duty. I'm the head of the household, and it is my duty to protect my family. And if something were to happen to me, our family would be in a worse situation than with me. And it's my duty to protect my family, their lives, my life, and that's just the way it is." And this lady was shocked. There is no comeback to that.
Well, and if you're carrying your gun and you're out in a store or in the middle of a parking lot and somebody else is getting accosted, it'd be nice if you could be there to help defend your neighbor.
You bet.
I mean that's the greatest commandment. Love your neighbor as you love yourself, and if I can help my neighbor, that's what I want to do.
It's also an American tradition. It was assumed in the early days of the Republic, and even before we were a nation, that the family would be armed. There have been those that have tried to say that there weren't many guns in colonial America because they can't find them in old probate records. And the fact is, they were considered so important, they weren't included in official records. They were just passed down from generation to generation. It was, as you say, Vince, considered a duty to protect one's home and one's community.
So, Major Wheelock, we've talked about there's some specialized ammunition, and there are different types of firearms. And you can get a revolver, you can get a semi-automatic handgun. Can you point us in a quick way? We only have about 16 minutes of this class left. Can we cut right to the chase? What do you like and why for most people, and why would we use a revolver versus an automatic and vice versa?
Well, I think, again, most people are going to have to look at their skill level, specifically where they are right now with firearms and familiarity with them. Also take a look at what kind of training time they're actually going to be able to devote to this, and then make a decision. There are other criteria as well. Physical size and strength certainly is important. There are some, carrying a rifle or carbine through your house just isn't doable for somebody that's maybe elderly or has certain other infirmities. Personally, I like to use a carbine-length rifle, the AR-15 with a short barrel, in as light a configuration as possible. One, because I'm familiar with that, having used a version of it in the military, the M4 and the M16 series of weapons, but also because it is a good weapon system. I'm not a huge fan of the round. However, inside the home, the .223 caliber with a 30-round magazine is a pretty potent combination. But again, if that's something you're considering, you can't just purchase it and then think you're going to be able to use it. It's something that you've got to become familiar with, got to devote training time, seek specialized training from a qualified instructor, and then continue to train with it yourself so that you can use it at night, you can use it when it doesn't work the way it should, so that you can stop whoever is in your home that you don't want there.
Class, I can tell you with absolute certainty that there are instructors at usaprepares.com that every member of their family sleeps with the exact same weapon that George just described, the AR-15, 30-round magazine.
I got one under my bed. If you're snooping around my house late at night in my neighborhood, it could be a bad night for you.
Yeah, the whole AR family has become America's #1 rifle. It's the #1 selling rifle in America because it's so versatile. There are long-barreled versions that hunters and other sportsmen use. Of course, it's commonly used for self-defense, so it's a great system.
It most certainly is. I love that gun, man, and I love to shoot it. And we'll talk about that and other firearms when we come back at our third quarter hour of the break. This is Mark Wright. I'm here with Vincent Finelli and retired Army George Wheelock on USA Prepares, where we're getting America prepared one family. And this is USA Prepares on KWTO 560 AM, the talk of the Ozarks. And we have world-class retired Army Major George Wheelock here in the studio. And George, you were at the spring edition of the Get Prepared Expo.
I was.
You did a seminar.
I did.
And when you were sitting at the front door, a lady came up and said, "Dave Ramsey, you're here."
Yeah, it was pretty funny, actually. I started getting asked to answer some financial questions, and then I kind of figured it out because they noticed the large Dave Ramsey poster right nearby. So I guess I thought Dave was going to be there at the expo.
Did you sign any autographs?
No, but I did have a picture.
You should have started selling books.
Maybe next time.
Maybe next time. Hey, man.
And George, the next
economy's bad. Take advantage of it, brother.
George, the next time that happens, I think you should say, ma'am, everything I've been saying for the last few years, 10 years about gold, I was wrong.
That's right.
I was thinking about this a while ago, Vinny. Here we are on 3 to 4 in the Ozarks live. This is a local show from the Ozarks. Our competitor's on right now. You know where they're piping in from?
Oh yeah, yep.
New York City.
New York City.
That's right. I mean, you ain't going to get this kind of radio from New York City.
New York City.
I mean, this kind of radio you're going to get from the Ozarks, going out to the heartland.
Mark, did you say competitors?
Well, I mean, I theoretically, I guess that's what they are.
Who would that be?
The other guys. I don't want to mention their name. Man, somebody might. That'd be horrible if I mentioned. Oh, that guy's on and turn over. That'd be horrible. We got George Wheelock. Of course, they wouldn't turn over anyway.
You're right, George. I've got some one-word questions. Kind of like Johnny Carson used to do.
Wait a minute, that's Karnak, the magician, or Karnak,
the amazing Karnak.
The amazing Karnak. I remember when Johnny used to do that.
Yeah, but I'm not wearing a turban.
Okay.
Well, here's a one-word question, and whatever you want to say about it would be wonderful. Shotgun.
You need a 2-hour program.
Wait. We need a 2-hour program to talk about shotguns?
No. You just, in general, you guys are talking good stuff. Let me quickly get to your point. So, we talked about the AR as something that I recommend, but for somebody that doesn't have a lot of training time, etc., shotgun may be a good choice, but just a couple caveats. Shotgun doesn't have the spread people a lot of people do, or a lot of people think. A typical engagement in your home is probably going to be about 10 feet or so.
Yeah.
Double-aught buckshot from a 12-gauge shotgun is going to be right at about a 3-inch spread at about 10 feet. So in other words, that shotgun still has to be aimed. The shotgun still has to be controlled on successive shots. It's not something you can just buy, put in the corner, and then use when that time comes. You have to train on it.
George, I think what you said is quite important. Class, the general opinion about shotguns is you point them in the general direction. If 3 people are coming toward you and there are 3 bad guys and they're walking abreast, you're going to get them all with one round. That is not the case. George Wheelock just said 10 feet. The pattern is going to be 3 inches in diameter.
That's correct, and it'll open up some as you get a little bit further from your target, but it's certainly not what a lot of folks envision with a 2 or 3 foot spread.
Okay, so you said shotgun. I'm going to ask you a couple more pieces about
Sure.
that. Pump, automatic, what gauge do you like, and who can handle it?
If you're a novice, I say pump because there are less opportunities for something to go wrong with that. If you have time to train on that, and it's going to be a primary weapon system for you, there are some very dependable semi-automatic shotguns that are made now, and they're an excellent choice.
Class, Mrs. Finelli likes the 18.5-inch barrel pump shotgun 12 gauge. She likes that. So,
here's my thought. You break in my house in the middle of the night. If I'm breaking in your house in the middle of the night, I should say, and I hear a pump, I'm like, oh my! I think I just found the wrong guy to rob. I may just go ahead and just leave and not have a confrontation.
That has actually happened before. I've never heard of a case where somebody in the home exited upon hearing that, but I have heard of several people that have loaded around in the chamber of their shotgun, and whoever was outside made a choice to go somewhere else. So you want to be like a porcupine, a lot of bristles.
Yeah.
You want to be the hard target, not the soft target.
Okay, I've got another one-word question for Major George Wheelock. Handgun.
Another good choice, again, if you're smaller stature, maybe you have some kind of physical ailments or impalements, but then you have to make a choice, semi-auto or revolver. A revolver is always going to go bang when you pull the trigger, but it's limited by the magazine capacity. Mark and I described the handguns that we're carrying that can carry up to 20 rounds, 19 in the magazine, 1 in the chamber. That's a pretty awesome amount of firepower to be waking up with, pulling off your nightstand when you're still a little bit groggy, grabbing your tactical flashlight, and having to defend your home. So 6 shots versus 20, for me, because I have the time to train, because I'm familiar with that type of weapon system, that's going to be my choice. But those are 2 considerations that I'd offer quickly.
You're saying that semi-automatic gives you a little more room for error.
I believe so, and also, with the increased magazine capacities and the types of ammunition that have been specifically developed for the semi-auto, I'm less concerned about malfunctions now than I would have been even a few years ago. But again, requires more training time and a higher proficiency level than a